Hello, guys. Welcome back to the California Music and Innovation Summit 2021 and for day two. Hi, Suda. How are you doing today?
Uh, Good, Jerome. Thank you. Hi, everybody. It's great to be kicking off day two. It certainly got hot and steamy last night with the AI competition. How was it for you, Jerome?
It was just awesome, and the winner energized. We can share the link on the chat. The song was just amazing, created and co-created with an AI. So I was just impressed by the work of the 38 teams. I don't know if you have the chance to listen to all the songs, Suda, but wow, what a work!
I heard quite a few, and totally really impressive and great to hear so much about AI yesterday as well. So, what have we got in store for today?
Yeah, so today, maybe first of all, a few words about California for those who wasn't there yesterday. So California is an entertainment tech hub based in Liège, Belgium. Our mission is to connect the dots between startup innovation and the music industry by gathering investors from all over the world, by organizing summits like this online in Belgium, but also all over the world when it's possible without COVID, but also by organizing acceleration program for startup. And tomorrow at 5 p.m., you will have the chance, guys, to listen to the 15 startup that participated to this program. So today, so first of all, yesterday it was our AI and Creation Day, and as I told you, it was in collaboration with AI Song Contest, and Emojized won this contest. Again, congratulations to this team. If you like to see the panels and the keynotes we did yesterday, they are all on demand in our platform. So please do not hesitate to check this content. You will see it's just amazing. Today, day two, the team today is fans and content. So you will see amazing. We'll discuss about NFT, metaverse, gaming, recommendation, etc., etc. But I'll let the word to Suda to introduce our first speaker. Welcome and enjoy the day.
Thanks so much, Jerome. Okay, so to kick off day two, we have Frédéric Martel. Frédéric is an academic, journalist, and a New York Times best-selling author. He's professor of creative economies at Zurich University of the Arts and director of Zurich Center for Creative Economies. Not only that, he has a PhD in social science, 4 master's degrees in law, and he's author of 11 books. Wow, can't wait to hear more about digitalization, geolocation, and smart curation in Frédéric's keynote. Over to you, Frédéric. Thank you.
Bonjour. Hello, everybody. I speak to you from Lebanon, from Beirut, where I am doing some research. I'm French. I live in Paris. I teach in Zurich, but right now for 2 weeks I'm in Beirut, and I would like to begin actually by an example linked to the situation here in Beirut, and you can see behind me the sea maybe and the area also where the port authority had a year ago a very big explosion who killed more than 200 people. A few time ago here in Beirut, in another trip, I met a young guy named Mohamed Assaf. And as it was mentioned in the presentation, I'm a journalist. I'm the anchorman and the producer of a radio show in France about media technology, music, and the internet. And we broadcasted in my radio show on national French public radio a song by Mohamed Assaf. And we did that like we did every week with many uh, music and new songs. And at the same time of the music was broadcasted on live on radio show, we put it on Twitter with a post just saying, right now listening on French National Public Radio, Mohamed Assaf. And in general, when we do that on Twitter, we get 1, 10, 20, 25 retweets, and we are already very happy by that. But that day, after a few seconds, we had 100, 200. After a few minutes, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 retweets. So people like retweeted, were retweeting our tweet on Mohamed Assaf by hundred and actually thousands. It was a very big surprise for us. Why? When we broadcast an American superstar, we got a few dozens of retweets, and suddenly thousands of retweets with Mohamed Assaf. Um, and actually, the the guy is a young guy. He's now 31st years old. He was born in Libya in a Palestinian family and grew up in Palestinian camps in Gaza near Rafah, where actually I was also a day where he arrived, and thousands of people were gathering around the hotel where we were in Gaza Strip to welcome him. And he began very early on. He was probably 5 or 6 years old, singing in the marriage in the Palestinian camp, and then singing in some local contest before going to Cairo to do a contest for Arab Idol, the TV Pan-Arab contest on NBC, which is one of the main important TV network in the Arab world. And that day, Mohamed Assaf was blocked in the border, and it took him hours to cross the border, which is one of the most difficult border, as you know, in the world. And he arrived in Cairo for the audition too late. It was already finished, the audition. At least he didn't get the ticket to enter. And so he was very sad. He began to cry. And another Palestinian was there, said, you know, I listened to your voice because he was crying and singing a bit. Your voice is so amazing. So I give you my ticket. You can attend instead of me because you have more chance than me. And uh, and he was in the contest. He won in Cairo, and then he went to Lebanon here, when in 2013 he won Arab Idol and became one of the most famous Arab kid in the world. He has now 3 million followers on Twitter, um, 11 million on Facebook, 5 million on Instagram, and the video I was mentioning was seen 100 million times on YouTube. And when I met him, I interviewed him about the work he did on social network and also his life, and I did that in the radio show. And that's actually why when we broadcast him on the radio show, he retweet my tweet. And because of that, all his followers in the Arab world retweeted us just because they were very happy that a French so-called national public radio was broadcasting Mohamed Assaf. If I begin with this little example and story, among 100 I could give you, because I travel for my book and research everywhere. It was not really the case last year because of COVID, but it is the case in general. I do 30 countries every year, and this kind of example, I've seen them everywhere. It's because you might have liked my story, but you might never have heard about Mohamed Assaf. So he's a superstar here in Beirut and in the Arab world, but maybe none of you have even heard his name. And I guess it's what the internet is about. The people in the Silicon Valley believe that the frontier will disappear, that everybody will speak in a way the same language of a uniformized culture, homogenized culture, boundless. Global and digital will become a synonym for them. And actually, internet is for them a metaphor of the US, of America. You know, freedom, the big space, the myth of the frontier, speed, a single global homogeneous network. The world will be flat. This vision is not my vision at all. I believe exactly the contrary. And Mohamed Asaf is a good example of that. He's a superstar, a mainstream artist in the Arab world, but is known basically nowhere else in the world. I do think the world is still with borders and frontiers. And you know, in English, there is a difference between frontiers and borders. In French, we just have one word, frontier. But in English, there is a two word. Border is the border patrol, the border flag. You need a passport, you need a custom. It's a physical frontier. And then you have frontier. Frontier is not physical, it's more symbolic. It's the myth of the frontier when you go west. It's the new frontier of Kennedy when they went to the space. It is a frontier where languages, cultural spheres, territories, communities are important. And I would say on the internet, there is not borders, except maybe to China, but there is a frontier. And this frontier explains why Mohamed Asaf is well known and superstar here and is not in other places in the world. So to conclude with this example, I would say internet is not disconnected of the territory. We live in a territory, but on the internet, we are also in a territory. We are geolocalized. It means we are not speaking, being in the same conversation everywhere in the world. We are basically linked to our territory, even though we can be like I am today in Beirut on a computer, a nomad, or without a physical space. The second main element I would like to share with you this morning, it's the consequence of this geolocalization, and at the same time, the consequence of digitalization. The digital disruption is not just disrupting the content producer, disrupting you, disrupting the artist with also his business model, but is also disrupting the audience. It affects the critics, the recommendation, the prescription as well. So we are going to look at curation in this geo-localized world. On the internet, as you are paid or to know, and as you know better than me, the abundance is every day more amazing. 30 million plus songs on Spotify or Deezer or Apple Music or Pandora. 6,000 movies or series are available on Netflix and twice that number on Amazon Prime. Thousands of new videos are uploaded every minute on YouTube. More than 600,000 books are available on Kindle Unlimited, Scrib, or Google Play Books. So no critics, no human being can now follow the internet, new content production, and criticize or just describe, monitor what's on it. So what are the new options? Many people believe some technology solution will be the new critic. And first of all, the machine. The algorithm will be the critic. And for one part, it's true. Netflix has an excellent algorithm of recommendation based on 70,000 micro-genres and a team of 500 plus engineers that are working on its algorithm in Los Gatos in the Silicon Valley. Spotify, Deezer, Pandora, SoundCloud, Tidal, Apple Music have also very good algorithm of recommendation, and so on with Amazon, YouTube, and even the new Museum of Digital Art in Zurich as a curator and algorithm. However, the algorithm culture has also its limits. First of all, the algorithm, which is very good to give you the numbers of viewers of video, the better price for a plane ticket right now, or to evaluate your satisfaction about a music, an hotel, or a restaurant, is not good at predictions. We know the famous joke, and actually a kind of a funny one I like. When a Catholic, for example, a Catholic priest arrive on Facebook and put his status, a single, a bachelor, immediately he gets a lot of ads for dating websites and dating apps. So you see how Facebook is not even able to recognize that by definition a priest, even if he's single, he doesn't necessarily need dating apps. I mean, there is a few exceptions of that, but it's another subject. There is more. Um, a journalist named George Packer, a very famous journalist from the New Yorker, now working for the Atlantic, discovered that the algorithm of Amazon and its suggestion, if you have liked this book, you might like this one, are influenced by secret contract with publisher. So the recommendation, which are supposed to be based on your own taste or the mainstream audience, is in fact influenced by advertisement. You can find the George Packer article from the New Yorker um, easily. There is even more. When you like a page on Facebook about an artist or a writer, a politician or a brand, you are supposed to follow it to access its new post. But it's not the case. Only 4 to 8% of the posts of the page are shown actually on a timeline of the page until the content is liked, commented, or shared by many people. Otherwise, the artist, the writer, have to pay. EdgeRank, the algorithm of Facebook, filters recommendation depending on money. So basically, nor the traditional critique nor the algorithm uh, of the algorithm culture are totally accurate today. Today, what can we do? That's basically our job, I would say, and that's the point I want to make in this presentation. I believe the future of criticism will be a combination of human editorialization and data from the machine. This is why my talk is between fans and content of today and data of tomorrow. A mix of personalization and algorithm are necessary. A mix of the data mining and a human point of view. Basically, a mix of words and numbers. And that's already the case. Take the booktubers, the YouTubers that are specialized in books. They speak about books, and then YouTube make them viral or not. Take the algorithm of Spotify, Discovery Weekly, which is hyper damn good efficient. A long study has been made on the way Discovery Weekly works. It's not just an algorithm system. It's based on 3 levels of recommendation. First of all, you have your own listening, what you listen the week before, and that's very influential in the algorithm. Second of all, you have uh, uh, the the data, basically the mainstream uh, culture about what has been listening in the world in the same genre of music. And third of all, you have influencer. Actually, hundreds of influencer, mainly AR director, music producer, journalist, bloggers, um, and so on. That also are taken in account by the algorithm. And these 3 levels of, of filters, your own, the mainstream one, and the influencer, are combined in a very complex way to give you every Monday morning Discovery Weekly. That's what I would have what I called smart curation, meaning the curation by people and the smart from the algorithm. You also have that with the creation of NPR, National Public Radio, one podcast in the US, or some BBC One, BBC algorithm as well. I can quote also, sounds good. It's a startup with influencer, friends, and algorithm all together combined to make great recommendation. Also, the new algorithm of the platform called Medium, a social media website and apps, created, by the way, by the co-founder of Twitter, which also use this kind of smart curation system. So that's a very new tendency, I would say, to combine algorithm and human uh, information that will help you to become strong on your startup or social networks. Um, to conclude now, I would like to add four main points. First of all, we are in a constantly changing ecosystem, and you are also yourself paid to know that. Right now in the US, people access the internet mainly through an application on a smartphone, not through the regular computer or the internet. For 60 to 70% of them, they access through their smartphone. 30 other percent are mainly through a search engine as Google, and 8% through a search engine on a smartphone. So it still is 70% of people are accessing the internet through a smartphone. Second of all, applications are very concentrated in a few players. You use on average 27 apps on your smartphone every month, but you spend 80% of your time only on 5 of these apps. So the smartphone ecosystem is even more concentrated to a few players than the desktop traditional one. Third of all, the streaming on demand subscription model, as you know, is now the new model for music with Spotify, Netflix, Apple Music, Pandora, or SoundCloud, but also for the movie and series, Netflix, Apple, Amazon, and also for video games, Steam, and so on. Self-curated experiences are also growing. So, um, and the last of all point I wanted to make is to recommend you also to look elsewhere. We know the startups of the Silicon Valley, and we live with Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or Snapchat. But we don't know well the innovation in Brazil, for example, Taringa, for example, a music platform based on recommendation that was created in Argentina. In China, the Weibo, the Renren, all the so-called BAT, which is the equivalent of our GAFA, BAT for Beidou, Alibaba, Tencent. In India, Flipkart is already a giant of the internet, a kind of Amazon. And I was mentioning Mohamed Assaf. He's big on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, but is especially big, is especially good on Shahid. And Shahid is an equivalent of Spotify here in the Arab world. So let me add the last remark. I believe in the algorithm culture, and I'm optimistic about the future, even of algorithm that will be more efficient, more singular, more specific to you. But we have to be careful. We need to keep a human dimension in prescription, in content, in our relation to fans, because I do think that's only because of this smart curation, the combination of data and human prescription, the combination of the science and I would say the words that will make the recommendation better and will keep diversity and efficiency. At the main classical music critic Alex Ross from the New Yorker wrote one day, and I will use his expression to conclude, we need an ethics of streaming, une morale du streaming, we might say in French, and that was basically I wanted to share with you.
Thank you so much, Frederic. That was super fascinating. I'm waiting to see if there's any questions on the chat. So please, by all means, send your questions in now. I have one for you. You talk about algorithm culture. I'm curious, ideally, where would you see that going within the next 5 years?
You know, we are in the beginning of, the algorithm is still very new. So people might address some critics. I'm not among the ones that are afraid by algorithm because at the end, an algorithm is the product of what we decide it is. It depends of what we tell him to do. If we ask the algorithm to broadcast only the less broadcasted song in the world of today, it will be extremely only independent and actually probably very bad music. So the algorithm is not like in the movie of Kubrick 2000 the Odyssey of Space, Space Odyssey. It is what we decide. It's not going to take the power. The algorithm is not going to to go and decide for ourselves. Every problem the algorithm are generating are a problem decided by human being. So at the end, I think the algorithm culture will improve. This is why I coined this expression, smart curation. I think that's the good direction where we have to go, not to ban algorithm, not to be only human critic because we cannot do that anymore, but the combination of the two will be, I would say, the future. And if you allow me, I will send to the people, if there is a way to do that, a few articles that I wrote or we wrote in my center about this culture if people want to go further with this kind of analysis.
Yeah, that would be really great. Thanks so much, Frederic. That'll be yeah, we'll get those links from you. Thank you very much. And yeah, on to our next session, which will be at 1 p.m. CEST. And that's going to be the first panel of the day, which will be on welcome in the music metaverse. So we look forward to seeing you back here at 1 p.m. Thank you.